Dad, look at the books. Morgan is stealing from the company to the tune of $2,000 a week. How can you let him run this company? Morgan, how could you? After all I have done for you. I didn't, Dad. I own a rundown 15-year-old car and haven't taken any holidays for years. Look, Dad, there's proof that the money is going into Morgan's bank account. I couldn't believe what was happening to me. My dad believed in the fake bookkeeping, and I was kicked out of the family business. When that happened, I saw John jumping up and down for joy. Hi, my name is Morgan. I want to tell you about my brother, John. If you think your family is challenging, take a look at my life. Growing up with my older brother, John wasn't easy. With a 5-year age gap, he always seemed to be the favored one in our parents' eyes. They thought he was smarter, better looking, and destined for success. During Christmas, John always got flashy gifts, expensive bikes, new laptops, and the latest phones. In contrast, I found joy in quieter pleasures like reading, collecting cards, reading books, and painting scenes of nature. For his 18th birthday, my parents bought him a brand new Jetta. My parents owned a successful candy business, and they figured he would be perfect to help make the company more successful. I was hurt by my parents' rejection of me, but what hurt too was how John always found ways to make me feel like a fool. At school, John would make fun of me in front of my friends. While he played sports or tried to impress the girls with his expensive toys, I was always in the library, exploring a new author or finding delight in piecing together puzzles. Once he saw me with a group of my friends and tried to embarrass me. Morgan reads books because he doesn't know anything. I read books because I want to learn. Morgan would never make a good business person. He doesn't have any big ideas. He reads so that he doesn't have to think. I am just as good as you are. I am smart in my way. I tried to ignore John as much as I could at home. By the time I finished university, I ran my nature blog where I landed contracts with companies. I also branched out doing YouTube and other TikTok ventures, where I was successful doing these side gigs. I also helped out at my parents' business. John decided to do a few years backpacking around Europe and left his university studies. During that time, he met and married a young woman, Karen, who worked in the hospital. John asked for a big fancy wedding, and because he was the oldest, my parents gave him an expensive wedding, complete with a mariachi band. My wedding was small and modest, but that is what I wanted. Back at the company, my dad saw that I had lots of ideas and helped the business grow more and more. When John came home and saw how the business was booming with my help, he was jealous and out to get me. He told my dad that I was stealing money from the business. John created some fake business receipts and gave them to my dad as evidence. Dad, look at the books. Morgan is stealing from the company to the tune of $2,000 a week. How can you let him run this company? Morgan, how could you? After all I have done for you. I didn't, Dad. I own a rundown 15-year-old car and haven't taken any holidays for years. Look, Dad, there's proof that the money is going into Morgan's bank account. I couldn't believe what was happening to me. My dad believed in the fake bookkeeping, and I was kicked out of the family business. When that happened, I saw John jumping up and down for joy. I knew the whole thing was a lie and couldn't do anything about it. I sat in my house and cried. My wife, Karen, was so disgusted at what happened that she took the 2 kids and fled to her parents. I was hurt and saddened. One of the writers for my blog, Frances, phoned me to ask me why she hadn't heard from me for days. I told her everything.
I am sorry to hear about this, Morgan.
My brother hates me so much that he found a way to get me out of the family business and inheritance.
You shouldn't just sit there. You need to fight back.
Do you mean to get a lawyer? I don't have money for this, and this is going to make matters worse.
The truth needs to come out. Your family needs to know how hardworking, kind, and sincere you are. You would never steal from your family, ever.
I knew that I had to make things right for me and my family again. Fortunately, Frances said she was also a lawyer, and she said she would help me make it right with my parents. Frances sent legal letters to my parents that I was innocent of the theft charges and provided statements showing none of the stolen money was spent. Everything seemed to be coming out in my favor again. But one day, John wanted to see me. But before I agreed to see him, I set up video and audio to record the conversations. Stop trying to come back to my family's business. Stay out, or else. Or else what? I am going to get someone to break your fingers and do other worse thing. Why are you trying to get me out of the business? You can do well for yourself. I didn't finish university. I need that business to buy houses and take vacations. You are doing well for yourself. Here's $50,000 to keep quiet. I was happy that everything was caught on tape. I went with my lawyer to see my dad, and presented all the video evidence that the whole charge that I was accused of doing was a complete lie, fabricated by my brother, so that he could take over the whole company. As soon as my dad saw the evidence, he immediately fainted, and we all took him to the hospital. We didn't know that he had suffered a heart attack, and things were serious for a while. John didn't even come to visit my dad. A few weeks later, my dad recovered and asked to speak to both me and John.
John, I saw everything on the tape. I am very disappointed in you. I am standing before you proclaiming that those tapes are lies, all lies.
Dad, don't shout. It's hard on your heart.
You are kicked out of my company, John. I never want to see you again. Morgan, you are the new company president.
John got mad and started yelling and throwing things at me and my dad. Security had to make him leave because he was so angry. My dad thought about charging him with serious stuff like fraud and assault. Later, Morgan drove away super fast and crashed his fancy car into a tree. The medics pulled him out with 2 broken legs and arms. My dad felt bad at how he treated me and apologized. He also made me the CEO of the company. My wife came home and asked me to take her back. But I was hurt that she abandoned me when I needed her most. I wanted out of my marriage.
I love you. We can make it work.
I worked hard to provide for you and our son, but you never believed me and thought I was a thief and a liar. You should have known better.
It was John's idea. Don't blame me. He gave me $50,000 so that I could pack up and go to live with my family.
So you took the money?
That's a lot of money. I thought only of me and the kids. I thought you would end up in jail. I should have believed you. I am sorry.
Sorry, won't make up for the trouble I faced. I demanded a divorce, and we went through with it. After the divorce, I got custody of our kid, Sean. Karen, my ex-wife, ended up living with her parents, which was tough on her because they made her clean, cook, and do all the chores. My dad, wanting justice, took John to court. My brother was charged with multiple counts of fraud. He appeared in court in a wheelchair because his legs were permanently damaged during the car accident. John called me and asked me to drop all the charges.
Please help me, Morgan. You are my brother. I don't want to spend my life in prison.
You never treated me like a brother. Why should I help you?
I know I have been a pain. I am human, and I make mistakes.
You realize that you have to pay for what you did to me. Dad almost died and had a heart attack. Don't talk to me ever again. I took one more call from John, and he promised to do better. He also said that he wanted me to run the business with him. I refused to take any more calls from John. Dad also said John's wife divorced him as soon as she learned he would be going to prison for a long time. During the court case against John, my wife's sister, Diane, gave me lots of support and said that I was doing the right thing. Diane also said she hated my wife, Karen, for taking the money and not supporting me. When the dust cleared, my parents let me run the company, which now has branches around the world. Diane and I are closer too, and hope to marry soon. The lesson of this story is that good things do happen to good people, and bad things will happen to bad people. Hope you enjoyed this story.